Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today I'm sharing how I make these super soft and fluffy instant bhaturas which are ready in under 30 minutes. From the time you knead the dough to actually enjoying them with your favorite sides, you only require no more than 30 minutes for these. They have no yeast in them, which means no smell and no waiting for the dough to rise. And my favorite way of serving them is of course with some chole or chane. It's a chickpea curry which is extremely delicious, one of my favorites, and some fresh cut onions, some pickle and green chilies, and they're also pretty good with chutney and raita. So naturally whenever I'm making them, I make them alongside the cholas, the curry that I just showed you guys, and they're actually both ready within 30 minutes, which I think is way faster than even takeout. So if you want me to share the recipe for the chanas, please comment below and I will make sure to share it with you guys before this weekend, so you have a little treat to enjoy either by yourself or with your family. So the ingredients are very simple. The basic ingredient is of course all-purpose flour, some ghee. You also need yogurt, and for the rising agents we are using baking powder and baking soda. Baking powder and baking soda both are different, so make sure that you're not replacing either one of them, and all you have to do is mix in all of your ingredients and then knead the dough. I am going to be kneading my dough with my stand mixer, but it comes together fairly quickly and easily by hand as well. A little note I would like to add about water is add it a little bit slowly. I added mine all together just because I know that this quantity works for my flour. So the recipe calls for about half a cup. So I would recommend adding maybe a quarter cup every time and seeing if your dough requires more or less. Sometimes it might need a couple tablespoons more and sometimes it might need less. In case you have added too much water, add a little bit more flour. So you want a soft dough which holds its shape, and here I have stopped my KitchenAid just so that I can knead in all those fragments of flour that kind of sits in the bottom for about 30 seconds, just until my dough is completely done. And it's gonna leave the sides. There shouldn't be any sticking parts on your bowl or whatever you're kneading it in. And it's gonna be like a very soft Play-Doh, and it's gonna have this sort of a webbing that you get from, I think, Play-Doh. I'm giving example of Play-Dohs because I'm a mom and I hope all of you understand the reference, but if you don't, I apologize. And now all you have to do is portion out the dough, flatten them and fry them. Here's a tip: even though it doesn't require any downtime, I highly recommend letting the portions that you have formed for at least let them sit for 10 minutes. And the reason I am asking you to do that is because what happens is once you try to stretch and roll out your dough right away, it comes back together, it kind of shrinks, and it makes it a little bit harder to knead any dough, may it be chapati or paratha or this bhatura dough. So whenever you're forming these small pedas or balls, let them sit for about 10 minutes and it's gonna be so much easier because they won't shrink. It'll give the chance for the gluten to relax a little bit, and it's gonna be a lot more faster. So these 10 minutes I usually work on my onions, or if I want to work on my gravy, so you have 10 minutes to do whatever you want for the side servings. And once the 10 minutes have passed, I put a pan with oil on about medium heat, and all you want to do is flatten them with a rolling pin with a little bit of oil. You don't need any flour, don't use any flour while flattening them out. So I have these portioned in 8 servings. I have a family of 4, 2 small kids and 2 adults, and this quantity works perfectly for one meal for the entire family. If you have bigger kids, maybe make 1.5 of this recipe or double it up. You can make double or triple or quadruple, however much you require. And for me, I'm making these medium small bhaturas, which are the size of my hand. If you roll them out too thin, they're not gonna fluff up a lot. And I just use a little toothpick or a bamboo skewer to see if my oil is hot enough, and these take 30 to 40 seconds, no more, to fry up. If you fry them longer, what's gonna happen is they're gonna lose all their softness. They're gonna develop this hard shell, which we don't want. And in case your oil it gets too hot, just reduce the heat a little bit, because then they're gonna brown up a lot from the top while they will still be a little bit raw in the middle. So just play with the heat a little bit. And here you can see that my oil got extremely hot, so I reduced the heat. And then I added in my bhatura, just move it a little bit and it's gonna start fluffing up. And I think using this sort of a spider spoon alongside a fork is super easy. But if you don't have this, you can use 2 forks to flip your bhatura and then just put it on a piece of parchment paper or a wire rack or a tissue to blot a little bit. And that's it. You have your bhaturas ready instantaneously. And right after I'm done frying my bhaturas, I add the bagar on my chanas and I serve them. And this has become quite a regular in my house, let me tell you. And you can see how fluffy and soft these bhaturas are. And if you have any leftovers, you can actually put them in a toaster and they're going to be good as new. I've tried it a couple of times and they're phenomenal. So that's how they look from the inside, fluffy and delicious, and they soak up any sort of a gravy so beautifully. And you can see how beautifully they have absorbed everything. So that was all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this recipe. Please try them out and let me know how it turns out for you and how your family enjoyed them. If you do recreate it, please do share it with me on my Instagram page, which is by the same name, the homemakerbaker_Farah Khalik. I love seeing your recreations. Until next time, the homemaker baker over and out.